Hi, all you beautiful souls. I am Tara, and I would like to welcome you all back to my channel, Spiritual Talk. Today, as I have expressed, I'm going to tell a little bit about my spiritual journey, starting sort of with the wake up. I've shared a few things. However, I never really got so much in depth because it was like it was a little freaky for me. There was a lot of experiences, dreams, dreams that are actually experiences. I've been guided to do this, and they've been wanting me to do this for a while because it's basically speaking out and how things affect us and how both sides affect us. Okay. It actually, it originally started in '99 because I expressed it before. I used a Ouija board and kind of opened a whole can of worms. It was actually quite unique at the beginning, and then it sort of started getting scary because, I started off that I was hearing voices. People were talking to me. There was one night when I asked for a star in the sky, and I went out and there was one star. And I was told which direction to look. And I asked about my name being in a cloud in the sky. And all of a sudden, I seen a cloud that spelt my name. And then I was going to the mall and I was hearing people saying that they were these certain people, like their higher selves and what have you. And whether it was them talking, but they were actually talking to me. I even said about a figure of God and in this cloud, it was just it was the face of a man with a big beard and hair. It was just, it was all strange. And I had things where I was requesting for certain people, fast runners. I became very fast. I actually had experiences where I kind of felt my body go like that, and it was like I was floating, but when I was standing. I went through a marriage ceremony in front of my sister, and I felt like someone was kissing me. There was one night during that time, at the beginning, when I asked for a certain spirit, it was said, well, I'm here. And it's like, well, where are you? It's like, look out the window. And I looked out the window, and in the corner of the window, there was this, it was like a blue-white flame type thing. And it was like going like this. And it was like, it had really like almost like gangly fingers. It was very strange. And it was like, well, okay, how do I get you in? Well, I had a picture of the person, the guy that I was trying to communicate with, and thought I had this person. And they said, well, take my picture and kiss me on the picture. Well, when I kissed the picture, I felt something go in my mouth and down my body. And it was just like, it was like that. And then all of a sudden, I was guided to the couch. And it was like, it was very strange because it felt like someone was making love to me, but I couldn't see anyone. I felt all the penetrations and what have you. I had, it was said that it was Elvis Presley. We were singing together in the shower and dancing. Then I started getting the negative aspects of it. And I ended up in the hospital. I ended up seeing the guy that I was contacting. And at that point, this person said that their name was Philip. And like, I'm sitting in the smoke room and I'm talking to them. And then the next morning, like first thing in the morning, this was like 2:30 in the morning. Well, when I got up that morning, I went out and I asked them, like, okay, where is this person? Well, we don't have a person here that name. I was having dreams where I was sitting on one of the footstools in the hospital, and then all of a sudden the footstool lifted, like the top part of the footstool lifted off of the seat part, went on the floor, and then all of a sudden I was going like this around the floor, and it was in an area, like I was downstairs in the hospital, and I ended up seeing the upstairs in that vision before I even went there. So things were happening. I was sitting in the chair with a psychiatrist, and I was doing these symbols with cards. And then when we were in the room with the psychiatrist, all of a sudden I'm sitting here and my body just got right light. And it was like my arms went up like that. And I just kind of started to levitate off my, like, lift up. And then like they kept me, but I was telling my mom when we would go out, I was like, well, this color car is coming. And then that color car would drive by. So it was kind of like manifesting. Okay. And then it was like things were happening. And I told my mom, I was like, I got to get out of here. Like there's something wrong. There's something not right. Okay. And I can't do it in here. I need an exorcism. So we got me out, and my mom and my grandmother and they were looking around, and we were calling churches and what have you. And we did end up finding a church. And when we went, and they took me as I was going in, it was like, you fucker, coming out of my mouth and everything like that. And they got me in the church, and it was just automatic profanity. Like it was not me. And they got me in the chair, they got me sitting down, and they're doing this, and my boy's going like this, and I got two people holding me. And it's like back like this, you fuckers, you think you're fucking taking her, and you take her, I'm taking her with me. And then all of a sudden, like they were doing their stuff, and then it was like it kind of went, but I still felt something. And I had a bone. Somebody had given me a bone, and they're like, what's that on your neck? It's like, well, it's this or what have you. It's like, take it off. So I took it off, and when I took it off, my hand come up like that. And when it come up like that, it started choking me. It was using my own hand to choke me. And the minister, they kept doing what they were doing, and my mom and this other person, they both took both of their hands, like they grabbed on, four hands and arms, grabbing onto my one arm, and they were pulling it, but it was choking me. And they were pulling, but one arm was stronger than the two of them put together. And yeah, holy shit. Then they were like, Tara, come on, you got to fight, Tara, you got to fight. And then all of a sudden it was just like, I come up and I went like that, and I grabbed my hand off my throat, and it was like like that. Okay, no one in their common mind, like even if what have you, they're not gonna, you can't do that. It's not possible. So they ended up doing it, and they kept telling me, like, okay, you need to keep affirming that you are Jesus, you walk with Jesus and what have you. And I was doing that. And then I kind of slid back, because I had been to a bar prior to that, and I was seeing 7 stars in people's eyes, and I was hearing their thoughts, and I didn't know what was going on. But then after the exorcism, time went by, they had me on a medication, so it just kind of subsided things. And as the years went by, then the following year, that's when I met well, he is now my ex-husband, but we still are connected and what have you. And I met him. And then in 2006, I was in a major car accident in a sports car. No such thing as coincidences, just synchronicities. And well, he, after my car accident, he went and he took a picture of the car. And in the car, I was looking and I seen this weird thing, and it was like a bubble, round circle, like an orb type thing. And I zoomed in on it, and when I zoomed in on it, I could see myself like this in that bubble. I know that I died in that accident. They don't know how I come out of it alive, but I know that I died because I had no visible marks on me, but somehow my seatbelt come undone, and I was flying around in the car. They said that the car cartwheeled roughly 7 times, end for end, then landing on the roof. But when I went off, it was like I was airborne, and there was a truck that had already been off the road, the same spot I went off, and when it hit, I hit the front end of this truck, and they said that my car, when I hit the impact, drove this truck back 10 feet from where it had been sitting. And then that's when I cartwheeled. When I come back, first thing I did was turn off the car. I was like sort of okay at the moment. And then I called, when I tried calling 911, it was like, sorry, but you were out of the service area. And I started to panic. I started trying to kick the windows out of the car, and nothing. And I was screaming at the top of my lungs. Like, I was totally hysterical. That would be the picture when I went into my accident. So as time went by, I would go catatonic. Like I'd just be sitting there. And if I'd be walking, I would go in freeze frame. And it got to the point where I had to tell people, like, don't touch me when I'm like that. Don't touch me unless you're ready to catch me. Mind you, people didn't always get that. And then in 2009, we had been moving into a new house, and he was my husband at the time. He was at one end of the kitchen, and then my son was at the other end of the kitchen. And I'm kind of standing in the middle and going through some shoes and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, it's just like, catch, and then boom, I went down. Well, from 2006 to 2009, I was drinking a lot of coffee and pop because it was a diuretic, and I had a lot of swelling. I wanted to shove my head in a crevice. Not much swelling. The doctors wouldn't do anything. One of my sisters had said that they were physiotherapists were basically dragging me and saying that I was walking. Right now, I can tell that I'm glitching, and I guess the Matrix doesn't want me telling my story. Yeah, keep going, kid. So when that happened, like, I was always like 130 in weight, and I went up to 184 pounds. Well, after I collapsed and dropped to the floor, I went down to 94 pounds in less than 6 months. I had people saying and spreading things, that I was anorexic. I couldn't eat. it wasn't because I didn't want, because I wasn't trying, because I was trying. And I got to the point that basically the only thing that I could eat was Mr. Noodles. And then I was doing a lot of dry heaving, and like I just sleep in, and it was like I was, and then I would go unconscious. And when I go from, like, I could be sitting there, and then all of a sudden it's like, vroom. I actually had a group on YouTube, and I had a video where I was out in my entryway in the apartment building. I was talking to people, and I went to grab to somebody because I felt myself going down, and I couldn't get their attention quick enough. And I went, and when I went like that, and I was like that far from going through a glass door, and about that far from hitting my hand off a frame, but my body did smack. That was in 2017. There were times when I would be out and they'd had to call the ambulance, and they would go here. Well, they did that in 2018. I was in surgery, and they were trying to wake me up, and I wouldn't respond. I could hear them. I could feel them. They were grinding at my feet and sticking stuff in my toenails, but my body was not moving. I could not express it. It's okay, you guys. They took their knuckles and they would go on my scrotum, and they would just go like that. It caused my scrotum to bleed, but they wouldn't listen to me. That was in 2018, 2019. I was in Costco, and I was standing with my ex-husband, and I said, and he knew what I was trying to say, because I was saying, I'm going down. He grabbed my arm, and when he grabbed my arm, my body twisted. And when my body twisted, my body flung out, and he couldn't hold me anymore because my body went dead weight. And he ended up letting me go. And when he let me go, my body, first my hip, then my arm, but when my arm smashed, it torqued all the way over. Like it squashed me in here. Then my face slammed. I was unconscious. He was getting frustrated with me because, like, the doctors were telling him, oh, like, there's nothing wrong with her. It's all up here. They were trying to hold my feet up, and everything would just flop. They got me in a wheelchair, and I couldn't hold my head up. He would get frustrated because I couldn't hold my head up. It would just flop back. They'd put it up, flop back. I wouldn't go in the ambulance because every time I went, they treated me like shit. So as days went by, I started tasting blood all the time. I started spitting up blood. It's okay, you guys. It's hard for us to hear this. I know. But just let me finish, because it is for me. But it's okay. My arm, it was going numb. I was going to the hospital, between emergency and doctor's offices, and even left my own province there one night. My body felt like it was on fire. It felt like freezer burn. Like, I'm talking the hottest kind of fire, which is the fast freeze. And this one day I was in the hospital. They kept me waiting for like 12 hours in the waiting area. And I kept feeling bubbles coming up and they'd pop. We'd like go to the brain and pop. And when I panicked from it, they told me it was anxiety and I needed to breathe. Like, F you, I am breathing. So they got me in the room and they sent me for a CT scan. And the doctor there, I was asking him questions. I even put a video up of that. I was asking him questions about what was going on with me. And I even took in the sample of blood, but because they couldn't analyze it because it wasn't in the proper bottle. He looks at me and goes, he touches me, he said, "Now, Tara, we just did the most expensive test that we do here at this hospital." It's like, patronize me? Who the bleep do you think you are? So I left there and I didn't go back to a hospital again, even though I needed it. My nephew was trying to get me to Alberta because the doctor up there back when this all started was helping me because I had an impaired cerebral metabolism, which means a lack of oxygen and glucose getting to the brain properly. I even pointed that out to other doctors and they wouldn't help me. I even spent $10,000 to go get a test done out of province. And when I got back from getting that test done, my doctor dropped me as her patient because she said it was a breach of trust. Well, I asked you to do this. And she ended up finding out that because I went and confidentially told my psychologist and made it clear I didn't want my doctor knowing that she would find out when I got back. But my psychologist told my doctor, and that's why I ended up losing my doctor. So that is a total breach of trust. That's why I don't trust them as far as I can throw them. And a lot of them, I can't throw them very far. So back to 2019, I was tasting blood. My rib cage was caving in. I was suffocating. All my muscles were deteriorating. I was throwing. I was like it was coming from here. I was literally dying. I was throwing up, but I was also blowing these thick bubbles. It was a clear fluid, thick bubble. Somebody just fainted or something. You're okay. Okay. In the ambulance, they treated me like shit. The hospital treated me like shit. As this was happening, I could feel my spirit, my higher self. I could feel me leaving. It was like, it was going like this, and I'm going like this, trying to follow. And it was going on for a bit. And I was in my bed one night, 2 days before I died. I was in my bed and couldn't move. My nephew was worried. And I ended up hollering, telling people to get the fuck out of my room. My mom was sitting at the foot of my bed. My mom's deceased. my sister in spirit was there. There was this little blonde girl. It was like they took my door off. Before that, I was seeing people sitting at my bedside. And the next day I went out and I was sitting on my couch and I could really feel it. It's like going like that. Feeling myself going into shock. And I was laying there. I had no life. Could not move. Could not ask for help. So I could hear, I don't know how long I was like that. I could hear my nephew and my son come in. And my nephew was like, your mother's still sleeping. So I don't know how long I was there for, like that. But then all of a sudden I could feel myself going. Couldn't ask for help. When they say that there is a bright light, there is a very bright light. It's like going up into the sun. It starts off as a 3 cluster, then it duplicates to a 6, and then it duplicated to 9, and then just till it was massive. Well, when I come back, because it wasn't time to stay, when I come back, I seen this. It was like a young girl with dark hair, kind of gray in color, black, like her eyes were black, and she had this long blue dress on, and she kind of creepy out, sort of like The Ring, and out my window. I ended up still feeling that way, and we ended up getting me to Alberta right around, Corona. The flares started, but they say it was a COVID, So I ended up coming home, and when I got home, I started doing research. I was decoding things big time. And then I started feeling like, okay, I'm being watched. And then I was hearing, and I'm being told like what have you, and I'm getting information and I'm writing it down, and it's all leading to Deuteronomy, and like just a bunch of stuff was like, whoa. And then the picture I drew, I was decoding it, and Tara, my name, come up with a human activist. The word now come up with like enlightened, enchanted, photographic, suffocate, all the things that are happening now. Eyes, it was see everything, and hearing, to hear what you couldn't hear before. There's a lot. And then this night before the supermoon of 2008, or 2008, sorry, of 2020, it would have been April 8th, 7th, 8th, 2020. The night before, I was feeling weird, and I was laying in my bed, and then all of a sudden it was like someone talking through me and telling Lucifer to go back to Father, that they both had an ego, and that everybody needs to fix this. And it was just really weird, and I could feel someone right next to me, but prior to, like, I was feeling people like grab my legs and stuff like that. And then the next day, I was cleaning my house, and I was feeling really weird and what have you, like, and then I was laying down, and like it was just like, okay, this ain't right. Something's going on. Something's trying to attach to me. what have you. So what ended up happening is I felt it, and I was getting ready because it was a fight for my soul. And it tried ripping me apart, ripping out my rib, my heart, my throat, tried to twist my head off. And meanwhile, hollering that I was a whore and this and that. It's coming out of my mouth. And then all of a sudden, I started moving my hand, and I just moved it. And when I was moving it, I started locking up the left side of my body. Like, I mean, I was taking it and I was twisting it with my energy, because whatever was attached to me, that's what I was going after. But I didn't know what was happening at the time. I do now, but I didn't at that time. So when I was doing that, it was like, where'd you fucking put her? I'm gonna fucking take her with me, trying to make me feel fucking human pain. Excuse my French. And then when that was happening, like, I could feel everything, but it wasn't hurting because I kind of went inside myself. And then I ended up letting go. And as I let go, I holler, God help me. And when I hollered for God help me, a flash of light come from the sky and hit me right there. Whether it was lightning or what the frig it was, I don't know. But when it happened, my body just started going. But like very violently. Like, I could literally feel the inside of my head shaking. Like, I thought, like, I was like, holy crap. It was like, I'm not going to make it. Whatever's happening, I'm not going to make it. I was vibrating extremely bad. It was like not an epileptic fit or anything like that. This was not normal by far. It was not medically explainable. And like, the inside of our brain, the inside of our skull is rigid, and our brain is like mush. So usually when that happens, it messes up your brain. It causes lesions. But that was going on for about 5 minutes, and I could still feel it. And when it stopped, I felt, and I'm ready again. And then another flash of light hit me. About another 2 minutes. By this time, I was drained. I couldn't move. I couldn't do not. I was just like, I was there, but not there. Extremely catatonic. And the spirits, the good spirits, come. And I was at the foot of the bed, and they took me and they moved me up to the head of my bed. And they took my hands and they put them like this. My cat was chirping at the birds outside, and they were being like, it was more or less asking, is she okay? So that day, like, I ended up getting up. It was like, what? Like, how is this possible? And I ended up getting up. And I got up, and when it happened, I was cleaning, and it was almost like I still felt something attached. So what I ended up doing, because I felt the only way that I'm going to get rid of this was if I took my own life. So I had a bottle of about 30 hydromorphone that was about 5 or 10 milligrams each. And I went in and I sat on my bed. Like, my phone was ringing and I wouldn't answer it. And I took the bottle, and I could hear my mom and Archangel Michael saying, no, Tara, don't do it. Please, Tara, don't do it. Don't do it, Tara, please. And I took the bottle, and it was like, if I'm meant to survive, then I will be saved. And I went like that, and I went like that. They were like, no, Tara, what did you do? What did you do? No, Tara, what did you do? Come on, what did you do? So I laid down and I'm just going like this, feeling myself slipping away. And I could feel them looking at me like, what did you do, Tara? Come on, get up. Tara, you gotta get up. I couldn't move. They were shaking my arm. Nobody there, but the spirits, my mom and Archangel Michael, were shaking my arm like this. Come on, you gotta get up, Tara. You gotta get up. Couldn't move, just blank. Then all of a sudden, they flicked one of my legs off the bed. Then they flicked the other. And then one of them got under here, one got here. They hoisted me up. Then all of a sudden, he just took and lifted me up and made me walk around. My body would go like this. And my mom would be like, come on, Terry, you got to stand up. Come on. You got to move, honey. Come on. You got to move. And they're walking me around and they're helping me finish clean up my house. Then they get me in the tub. I'm in the tub for a bit and still thinking. So I get out of the tub and I go and I take more pills. And I'd go to sleep, and if I woke up, I'd go take more pills and drink milk like it says with food. And meanwhile, when I'm hollering or throwing up, it's very quiet, so nobody can hear. How it's been quiet, I don't know. And then like 7:45 that morning, I heard a loud voice, get up and be ready because they'll be there at 8. And I wake up and it's like, okay, I just survived that too? Holy shit. Like, and I'm fogged and it's like, I'm looking around like, who just said that? And then it was like, okay. So I go to my door and look up and nobody's there. And then it would like get this feeling. And then I go to my door and there would be people standing in the hallway. Man. The first time happened, I looked out and there was this really tall man, because I heard keys, and this really tall man across the hall where an old lady lived that I knew. And this man was rattling keys, and then all of a sudden he went in the door. So I step away and I see these people and I message my ex-husband, I help, meaning I need help. And so I'm looking, and then I go in my dining room and I look in my living room, and behind one of my speakers, there's this being. They're very blue, and they have a blue uniform with dark hair, and their eyes were sort of like kind of like black, but their hair was black too. And beside that being, there were 2 men. They appeared to be East Indian men, and they were twins. One wearing a white gown, one wearing a black gown. And then when I looked over on my couch, there were 2 beings. This side, if the person had stood up, they would have been about 10 feet or more tall. They had long, straggly hair, a long beard. They were different beings. And then at the other end was what appeared to be like, if they stood up, they'd be about 6'9". They were big, Mongolian looking. And then it was like, okay, well. So I went back out the door, and these people are there. Some are sitting on the floor, and they're using a cell phone. They're walking past my peephole. I go in my living room, and then I'd see them outside. I go back to the door. They'd be there. I go look. They'd be closer to my window. So I went and I looked out the peephole, and it was They were there. I opened the door, nobody there. But needless to say, something bad happened. It got me out of there, and I started in Ascensions. I took a picture, and I'm very, like, on one side, I'm very bright, where it's like my whole face turned into a light. And since then, like, I was told to rip up the papers of the stuff that I was doing. And teskeriaskala apotoka amotoka empukui. Mikotodaira escola ekuriatotei escuri nakitutoi aplicadoi. Kitutoi medicaro muki my squire magia. Biscoy, cotudia, ecula anamonogiri, curimet tiskiratoi, ecula escoy. Okay. I'm kind of clearing. Diskion iske. Kipetotai amricote benio coriato coriamato cote cascariato tescale ecriato coriato coria cola venecaro potocaria briasca tutto escolea coriamo cotiamane kiti kutiki escato criato cotiapitiki boscale la criato coriatka criam. Okay, so, but like, with that being said, what I'm expressing is you're not alone. Now, after all that happened, I started having dreams. Okay, where I was on different planets, where I was seeing spaceships coming in over my head. I seen God in the sky. I seen the beginning, like there's actually, beyond this illusion, it's a very bright blue sky with a white sun, and you can see blue Earth planets of all shapes, sizes, and what have you, as far as the eye can see. Okay, I've seen myself on different planets. I've seen, like, it was like they've had people in pens. I just, like, my visions were there. Okay, just the other week, I had a dream where it was a really bad hailstorm. Like, I mean, the hailstorm was so bad, like everything was shaking. The earth was shaking. And my dad was in the dream, and he's telling me, this is happening because so-and-so is angry. Okay, so Mother Earth, Mother Gaia, Terra, Mother Terra, whoever you refer to as being Mother Earth, she's shaking. She's clearing. And the sun is sending off the light of Christ. And this is the energy. We're getting ascension symptoms. Right now, I feel very, very light. Eskerana shkale, ki tutupene eskiana ke totoile eskia. Ki shkale ela me koeme eskele totorikri, ki tutomiana eskia to eskia anshkiai. Kupule me kotatami yana akit tuye eskirana. Kutupulela no kiai. Kiskion pushkele akrie, kotane. Nimiskiana betukitupi. I actually have a great niece. And when we come together, the energy is just so, whoa, it's powerful. It's like she knows who my higher self is. She knows who I am. And it's so awesome when I see her and she wants to come to me and she just wants to embrace me, and she just, like, she falls right in, and it's like, she squeezes. And it feels good. I know she does it to others, but, like, it's very good for me. And I love playing with her. Like, she's a very old soul like myself. An old soul she is. And I tell her mother and father and everything like that. It's like, hey, you know what? Like, she just reminds me of a little old lady. Like, she's so beyond and so smart. Like, she's mother hen. She's just adorable. And I got another great niece, and she's a little more kind of reserved, but I know she's going to come out of her shell because she too is a sweetheart, and I can understand her. And I love being around her too. It's just being around children, and recently, like now, like my son doesn't have babies of his own yet, but he has a girlfriend who has children, so I am nanny, which is very good. I know that they are indigos and old souls, and they come in with their DNA activated, so they know already, and they know who we are because they can see it. I've been speaking the language and not stopping, even when people tell me, like, why do you talk like that? We don't understand you. It's like, well, I don't care. Your higher self does. Or I talk like this because I can. And I actually like it better than English because it's more enlightening. They just get him. Right? Okay. So if you don't understand that, that's okay. Because your higher self does. Okay. So, some of us are getting back pain, we're getting fatigue, we're getting anxiety, we're getting headaches. I stare at the sun a lot. Like, I don't just like so much just gaze, I actually lock on and suck it in. The sun is not bad for you. Okay. You're just told that because they want to make money off you and put all these chemicals. Before, think of Superman, right? What was Superman's weakness? Kryptonite, right? What's kryptonite? Metals. Okay? Meskala etutore tutui nemetukuri amarikiri takiya eshola amane askara tukuri etatai akolama akoria putukuri para mekala de askara and eskale ekore totuskiria que tutumani manigriana que titute kala la greka tutuskria patakria manigria skol ekria. Like, fuck, that's fast, kid. Sorry. It's all good. Okay. Yes, I do have people who talk through me, and that's okay sometimes. But sometimes it's like, hey, like, but I'm a medium, psychic, what have you, and it's part of who I am. I am one. I am. Mieszka skieria tyle quick. Que tu pria. Mi camanera. Yes. Kienia skieria kri. Kisia. Okay. With all that being said, I want to anyone who wants to accept the love, the light, the many blessings, and most importantly, very good health. I'm creating abundance, and I speak it into affirmation. I see abundance of healing, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and sexually. I see an abundance of fruit trees, berries, vines, all things healthy, an abundance of healing plants and herbs, abundance of flowers, all colors, abundance of different types of animals, old coming back, everybody living in harmony. I see the abundance of planets, blue earth planets as far as the eye can see. I see free energy for everyone. No one homeless, no one starving, an abundance of water, fresh and ocean. In the night sky, I see an abundance of beautiful, colorful stars, because we are the rainbow, and we are all colors, classes, and creeds. I see love for all of you. I see harmony. I see peace. I see people having compassion and understanding for one another. And with all that, I see the unity. Everybody putting their differences aside, because it doesn't matter your color, class, your age, sexual orientation, religion, genetic background, your language, because we were all originally speaking the same language. It was called the universal language. Because we speak light language. And as I said before, if you feel like you're going to speak gibberish, or you've spoken gibberish before and it just come out, you're not speaking gibberish. You're actually speaking a form of light language. And light language, it's enlightened. It's enchanted. And it's everything that Yahshua, some call him Jesus, but his name is Yahshua. Okay? And he is here. And a lot of you already know that, because you can feel him. You can feel each other. You can feel Mother, Father, God, and you can feel the Son. Miskian. Love you all. Love you all. Have a great evening.